Hey everyone, welcome to this edition of MLSsoccer.com's Brazil Bound, presented by Castrol GTX High Mileage. Greg Lawless here alongside a living legend in U.S. soccer, Cobi Jones. You've never been called a living legend, have you?
No, it's the first time. Thanks.
It's better than the other thing would be a
Yeah,
dead legend,
alternative
right?
ain't good.
Let's go with this. Now, you're here, of course, to help us try to make sense of what we saw when the U.S. took on Ghana. A huge 2-1 victory late. But everyone's sort of coming out of this. Great result, but not a great performance. Talk to me a little bit about the style versus substance, form versus function that you saw out there.
Well, when we look at this game overall, what it really comes down to is the result in the end. Pick up the 3 points, you get out of there, you're happy with it. But if you want to look at the team and how they played, probably not the best. Look, getting the goal early on by Dempsey, impressive. Taking the goal from Ghana, in the late minutes, not good, but then responding in that way, with John Anthony Brooks' goal, fabulous. But everything in between was a little bit of a struggle for the U.S. They really fell in deep into that defensive position, and they had a tough time, getting out of it, and that's where my concern is how are they going to be able to get results if they perform like that and it's a 0-0 match.
So what would you have wanted to see different? So they get the goal, they drop a lot, Ghana starts pushing. What would you have wanted to see different from the U.S. team to break that routine, if you will?
Well, we've seen the U.S. team do this quite a bit, where they sit in a little bit and they kind of absorb the pressure, but then they end up getting a little bit more possession and playing. I would have liked to have seen that same thing. I expected them to sit back for a bit once they got the goal, but then after you absorb their 10 minutes of pressure, then you've got to find a way to get out and start playing a little bit. I thought the person that usually is the maestro for that is Michael Bradley. I don't think he had the best game, in this last match. So that's probably the issue with him not having a very good game. They couldn't hold on to the ball very well and do that usual, passing and the counterattack that they like to do.
It was strange because it wasn't as if Michael Bradley was marked out of the game or anything. He just couldn't seem to get into it, and then he kept dropping back to play defense.
Yeah, he couldn't find the game, and that's a big issue, at the World Cup level. Big players like that, your leaders have to find the game. Now, I will say, part of it was probably due to the lack of, Josie Altidore going down with the injury, and with him out there, he usually holds up the ball pretty well, so that allows Bradley to get forward, and then they connect, and then that's how Bradley holds on to the ball a little bit more. Aaron Johansson comes in, I didn't see him so much.
Yeah, he likes to float a little wider. He's not that guy who's going to take that punishment and really hold on to the ball and allow you to come out. Now, in this one, though, who's your man of the match? For me, it was Jermaine Jones. I thought he had a tremendous game. He was all over the place. His athleticism was something that was a real benefit to the U.S. How about you?
Yeah, you know what? I'd agree with you. I liked Jermaine Jones and the way he played. I looked at that midfield being a very important part because they were doing so much cover, all over the field, stepping up high when they needed to, but also helping, the back line, as Ghana continued to pressure. I thought Kyle Beckerman did an excellent job, in the midfield, and those two playing off of each other along with Bedoya. But, for me, overall, I would say Jermaine Jones because he had that aggressive attitude. He was getting stuck in when he needed to. Had that little bit of bite, and send a message that, hey, we're not going to lay down here and let you continue to attack like this.
Yeah, I love this photo when he's going right through Suleiman Tari in this one. It sort of says everything you need to know about Jermaine Jones in that moment.
You need an enforcer, and he was there. He did it.
So last thing here, end of the game. They get the goal in the 86th minute. John Anthony Brooks, a guy no one really knows in U.S. soccer or in the U.S. at all in this case. After you jumped up and probably sent a couple of cheers to friends and all that and spilled your beer and everything, what went through your head in that moment?
I was like, they're going to do it. They're going to finally, get the monkey off their back. No more talk about Ghana always beats them. This was the moment. And it puts them in such a great position moving forward now. Now having this victory, it's going to settle this team down a little bit, and they can look at Portugal and Germany in a completely different way. There's not as much desperation because they were going into this game saying, hey, let's just try to get a point. To pick up 2 extra and have 3 and just be, second underneath Germany just on goal differential, an amazing accomplishment by the team.
Well, There's the expert view from someone who's been there and done that. Cobi Jones, former U.S. international, and of course, LA Galaxy star. Thanks very much for joining us here on MLSsoccer.com's Brazil Bound, presented by Castrol GTX High Mileage. If you have any comments or questions, let us know in the comments below, or hit us up on Twitter. Use the hashtag BrazilBound. If we use one of your comments on our next show, we'll get you some cool Castrol swag. Can't even say that word. We'll talk to you later, everybody.